Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chinnarotam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutiri Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, answers by citing the Lord's version, text number 20 onwards. So Brahmaji had the darshan of Vaikuntha-lokas, Vaikuntha-vasis and the Lord. And Shukdev Goswami has explained how Lord talked to him. And now Krishna is going to speak to Brahmaji. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Tvayaham Toshitaha Samyak Vedgarbha Sisrikshaya Chiram Bhutena Chiram Bhratena Tapasa Dustosha Puti Yoginam. The beautiful personality of Godhead addressed Lord Brahma. O Brahma impregnated with the Vedas, I am very much pleased with your long accumulated penance, with the desire for creation. Hardly am I pleased with the pseudo mystics. There are two kinds of penance. Okay, in the translation, somehow Prabhupada writes, the beautiful personality of Godhead addressed Lord Brahma. But in the shloka it says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. So why Prabhupada is saying the beautiful personality? Because in the previous verses, the beauty of the Lord is described. And also, when say Shri Bhagavan, so Shri means Lakshmi Ji or Srimati Radharani is there with Krishna, or Lakshmi is there with Narayan, and wherever there is Lakshmi Ji, so there has to be all beauty, all opulence, all fortune, everything. So it's not wrong to say the beautiful personality of Godhead said. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, there are two kinds of penance, one for sense gratification and the other for self-realization. The many pseudo-mystics who undergo severe penances for their own satisfaction. And there are others who undergo severe penances for the satisfaction of the senses of the Lord. For example, the penances undertaken to discover nuclear weapons will never satisfy the Lord, because such a penance is never satisfactory. By nature's way, everyone has to meet death, and if by such a process of death is accelerated by anyone's penances, there is no satisfaction for the Lord. So Krishna clearly says to Brahmaji, I am satisfied by your penance, but I am not satisfied by like pseudo or false penances that people go through. So to penance or austerity is to undergo voluntarily undergo some problems or perform some hard work to get something better goal. Now, like I had explained earlier, we all do this sacrifice or austerity or penance, but our goal is to get some more material profits so we can live comfortably. But that doesn't please Krishna. The idea is to please Krishna, to do the penance. Even Bhagavad Gita says, whatever penance you do, whatever austerities you do, Krishna says, do it for me. Because that will please Krishna. There's nothing wrong with austerities. We have to do, we should do. And like in Srimad Bhagavatam, Maharaj Rishabdev said, Tapo divyam putrika yena satmam. So tapo, one has to do tapasya for divyam, do the divya tapasya. Shuddhya, and what will happen with that? Shuddhya dasmat brahma saukyam tu anantam. That you will become purified and you will have brahma saukyam, means a spiritual happiness which is unending, tu anantam. So that kind of penance is required. That kind of austerity is what we are supposed to do. But we do so much of austerity to remain comfortable in the material world. But it's not possible. Like it is said then, when we are young, we sacrifice our health to make money. And then when we get old, we want to give money to gain that health back, but we can't. Once that health is gone, it's gone. So what is the what's the benefit of that kind of sacrifice? Of course, I'm not saying one should not work hard, one should not sacrifice, one should not have any goals in life. I'm not saying that. But we have to be intelligent enough to see what kind of sacrifice we are doing, what kind of austerities we are supposed to do. Do it for the material career also, do it for family as well. But at the same time, we have to make sure that we are progressing on the spiritual path also. So just working like a donkey, it doesn't get us anywhere actually. It will not. And Krishna is not satisfied. So those people who work hard, very, very hard in the material world, and I have seen people working 12, 14, 16 hours a day in the material world to live comfortably. But what kind of living is that? Even right now, they are working so hard. They are not living comfortably. It's just a mental satisfaction is there that I have a big house and I have a big bank balance and I have a family and I have relatives. You hardly see those people or you hardly live in that house that you have built. But just some satisfaction in the heart. Yes, I have this, I have that. So one has to try to make a balance in his life, balance in both work and spiritual growth. So work is required, but Rupa Goswami himself says, Atyahar prayasascha. So Atya prayas is bad. So one has to work 8 hours, 9 hours a day to get okay money so he can live comfortably, but at the same time, making progress spiritually is very, very important. So those who work hard day and night, just like this shloka also came earlier, when it is said that Diva charte hai Rajan Kutuma Bharnenva means a person, materialist person, he works hard day and night just to maintain his family. Nidra hriyate naktam vivayan javavaya means at night he spends his time sleeping or having physical relationship with the opposite sex. And daytime he's running around to make money or to maintain his family. But people like to say, especially in India, they say, oh, I'm doing karma yoga, working hard like an ass, and I'm doing karma yoga. But that's not karma yoga. There is no yoga in that. But Krishna himself says clearly, I'm not satisfied with those pseudo penances or people who perform pseudo penances or pseudo mystics. So this penance, this austerity, to work hard, to make money, to live lavishly, is not karma yoga. There's no yoga in that. There's no link. There is no satisfaction of the Supreme. It's only for my satisfaction I'm working that hard. So that person is not karma yogi. He's a karmi for sure, but not a yogi. And Brahmaji underwent so severe penances. Not just Brahmaji, even like Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Ravan, Kumbhakarna, they all of them, they underwent austerity. But Krishna was never pleased with the austerity of the demons because they were not performing that austerity to please Krishna to begin with. They were performing that austerity to get some benediction so that they can enjoy this material world. Brahmaji, on the other hand, he performed these penances, this sacrifice, these austerities to please the Lord and to understand Lord's purpose of creating Brahmaji. And Brahmaji, after undergoing all this austerity, then he got qualified to get the knowledge, to get the capabilities of creating this universe, or all the planetary systems and the different species of life. And he worked on those activities, or he took care of those responsibilities. So that is why that kind of austerity was pleasing to the Lord. And he said that. But Prabhupada is giving an example of nuclear weapons. The scientists working so hard to discover nuclear weapons. But what does it do? It just accelerates death. And Krishna will never be pleased with such a sacrifice, such an austerity. The Lord wants every one of his part and parcels to attain eternal life and bliss by coming home to Godhead, and the whole material creation is meant for that objective. Brahma underwent severe penances for that purpose, namely to regulate the process of creation so that the Lord might be satisfied. Therefore, the Lord was very much pleased with him, and for this Brahma was impregnated with Vedic knowledge. The ultimate purpose of Vedic knowledge is to know the Lord and not to misuse the knowledge for any other purpose. Those who do not utilize Vedic knowledge for that purpose are known as Kuti yogis or pseudo-transcendentalists who spoil their lives with ulterior motives. So Vedic knowledge, so Prabhupada writing, Brahmaji underwent severe penances to understand what the Lord wants. And hence Brahmaji was impregnated with Vedic knowledge. So he got all the knowledge by the mercy of the Lord. And the Vedic knowledge means the ultimate purpose is to know the Lord. Ultimate purpose of the Vedic knowledge is to know the Lord. And even beyond that, not just know, to serve the Lord with love and devotion. And those who don't know this, they don't know what is Vedic knowledge. Text 21. Varam varya bhadram te varesham madhivanchitam brahmachveya parishrama punsam maddarshanavadhi. I wish you good luck, O Brahma. You may ask from me, the giver of all benediction, all that you may desire. You may know that the ultimate benediction as a result of all penance, as a result of all penances, is to see me by realization. So, the ultimate realization of the supreme truth is knowing and seeing face to face the personality of Godhead. The realization of the impersonal Brahman and Lokeless Paramatma feature of the personality of Godhead is not ultimate realization. So ultimate realization is to see, to know the Supreme Lord face to face. When one realizes the Supreme Lord, one does not struggle hard to perform such penances. The next stage of life is to discharge devotional service to the Lord just to satisfy Him. In other words, one who has realized and seen the Supreme Lord has attained all perfection, because everything is included in that highest perfection stage. The impersonalists and the pseudo-mystics, however, cannot reach this state. Why? Because their penances, their austerities to please the Lord. He's not happy with them. But here he was very much pleased by Brahmaji, and he's asking them, you may ask anything that you may desire. Just ask anything from me. This is how pleased Krishna was with Brahmaji's austerities. Text 22. Manishitanubhavoyam amlokavalokanam yadupshutya rahasi chakartha paramam tapaha. The highest perfectional ingenuity is a personal perception of my abodes, and this has been possible because of a submissive attitude in the performance of severe penance according to my order. So the highest perfectional ingenuity is a personal perception of my abodes. So personally seeing or perceiving my abodes. And abodes means all the Vaikuntha-vasis and the Lord himself also. The highest perfectional stage of life is to know the Lord by actual perfection, by the grace of the Lord. This can be attained by everyone who is willing to discharge the act of devotion service to the Lord as enjoined in the revealed scriptures that are standard and accepted by the bona fide acharyas, spiritual masters. For example, the Bhagavad Gita is the approved Vedic literature accepted by all the great acharyas such as Shankar, Ramanuja, Madhva, Chaitanya, Vishwanath, Baldev, Siddhanta Saraswati, and many others. In that Bhagavad Gita, the personality of God as Shri Krishna asks that one always be mindful of him, always be his devotee, always worship him only, and always bow down before the Lord. And by doing so, one is sure to go back to Godhead without any doubt. So Krishna says twice he speaks that verse actually. Man manabha mad bhakto madhyadi mam namaskru. And this is what Krishna wants, and this is what is mentioned in the scriptures. And this is the highest perfection of life, is to know the Lord by actual perception. And by doing so, one is sure to go back to Godhead without any doubt. In other places also the same order is there, that one give up all other engagements and fully surrender unto the Lord without hesitation. And the Lord will give such a devotee all protection. These are the secrets of attaining the highest perfectional stage. Lord Brahma exactly followed these principles without any superiority complex, and thus he attained the highest perfection stage of experiencing the abode of the Lord and the Lord himself with all his paraphernalia. Impersonal realization of the effulgence of the Lord's body is not the highest perfection stage, nor is a stage of Paramatma realization. The word Manishita is significant. Everyone is falsely or factually proud of his so-called learning. But the Lord says that the highest perfection stage of learning is to know him and his abode, devoid of all illusion. So that is the highest perfection stage, because one has to be very, very qualified spiritually to be able to perceive the abode of the Lord, the associates of the Lord, and the Lord himself. And that's what Brahmaji could do that right in the beginning of the creation. That's how much Brahmaji pleased the Supreme Lord. Text 23. Pratyadishtam maya tatra tvai karma vimohite tapo me hridayam sakshadatmaham tapso anagha. O sinless Brahma, you must know from me that it was I who first ordered you to undergo penance when you were perplexed in your duty. Such penance is my heart and soul. Therefore, penance and I are non-different. So Krishna gave this instruction to Brahmaji to do tapasya, and he is confirming here that I am the one who gave you that instruction. And that penance is, Krishna says, my heart and soul. Why? Because that kind of penance, to engage ourselves in the service of the Lord as a devotional service, and to undergo austerities, difficulties, it gives Krishna the satisfaction. Why? Because it purifies us. It takes away our desire to enjoy here in this material world. The penance by which one can see the personality of Godhead face to face is to be understood as devotion service to the Lord and nothing else, because only by discharging devotion service in transcendental love can one approach the Lord. Such penance is the internal potency of the Lord and not different from. Such acts of internal potency are exhibited by non-attachment for material enjoyment. The living entities are engaged in the conditions of material bondage because of their propensity for overlordship. But by engagement in the devotional service of the Lord, one becomes detached from this enjoying spirit. The devotees automatically become detached from worldly enjoyment, and the detachment is a result of perfect knowledge. Therefore, the penance of devotional service includes knowledge and detachment, and this is the manifestation of the transcendental potency. So the penance done in devotion service, this is what it does. It purifies us. It takes away the desire to enjoy this material world, and it gives us direct perception of self, of the Supreme Lord, of His Dham, of His associates, everything. One cannot enjoy material, illusory prosperity if he desires to return home back to Godhead. One who has no information of the transcendental bliss in the association of the Lord foolishly desires to enjoy this temporary material happiness. So we are not here to enjoy this temporary, illusory material happiness of material sciences. We are here to serve the Lord. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that if someone sincerely wants to see the Lord and at the same time wants to enjoy this material world, he is considered to be a fool only. And Prabhupada also said the advancement in spiritual path and the material sense gratification, they go ill together. Means we cannot have one if we are engaged too much into the other. One who wants to remain here in the material world for material enjoyment has no business entering into the eternal kingdom of God. The Lord favors such a foolish devotee by snatching all that he may possess in the material world. So a foolish devotee, sometimes if he wants to enjoy the material world, the Lord, what he does, he loves his devotees and he wants them back as soon as possible. So he snatches away everything from that foolish devotee, so he cannot enjoy materially. The Lord favors such a foolish devotee. If such a foolish devotee of the Lord tries to recoup his position, then the merciful Lord again snatches away all that he may have possessed. By such repeated failures in material prosperity, he becomes very unpopular with his family members and friends. In the material world, the family members and friends honor persons who are very successful in accumulating wealth by any means. So this is the today's day and age. The family and friends also, they respect you once if you have money. If you are a failure materially, they don't even respect, they won't even talk to you. In fact, there is a story of Avanti Brahman in the 11th or 12th canto, and he underwent the same thing. He was very rich, and then somehow he lost all his money. And when his family and friends, family members and friends found out, they basically just stayed away from him. They didn't want to do anything with him. In the material world, the foolish devotee of the Lord is thus put into forcible penance by the grace of the Lord, and at the end, the devotee becomes perfectly happy. Being engaged in the service of the Lord, therefore, penance and devotion service of the Lord, either by voluntary submission or by being forced by the Lord, is necessary for attaining perfection. And thus, such penance is the internal potency of the Lord. One cannot, however, be engaged in the penance or devotion service without being completely free from all sins. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, only a person who is completely free from all reactions of sins can engage themselves in the worship of the Lord. So Brahmaji was sinless and therefore he faithfully discharged the advice of the Lord. And Lord, being satisfied with him, awarded him the desired result. Therefore, only love and penance combined can please the Lord, and thus one is able to attain his complete mercy. He directs the sinless, and the sinless devotee attains the highest perfection of life. So that's the only way to please the Lord. Austerity is penance, everything is required, but whatever pleases the Lord, that kind of austerity, if we perform, is there's no stopping them of making progress in spiritual life. And if a devotee wants to enjoy the material world because of his penances, because of his austerities, Krishna will make sure he gets frustrated and he doesn't try to enjoy the material world. So anyway, I'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. So we'll stop here. You all have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri